Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Arduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is the journalist.
And she's the enthusiast.
She is the enthusiast because we're doing Facebook Live at the same time that we're filming the show.
We are streaming live right now on Facebook, and so we're really excited, adding an extra element to our show and trying to get more to our viewers, and so we're really excited about that. And so today's topic is going to be college football, and specifically coaches right now within college football.
Week for coaches.
The last couple weeks, there's been a lot of question marks about what's going on in Texas and who's going to take over at LSU, etc. And so now we have some resolution there, and so we're excited to really get going on what's happening for the future for a lot of these schools. And so let's jump right into it.
Yeah, because we got good news.
So we're going to start with good news and then kind of tail off towards some not so good news for one coach in particular. But the number one coach we want to talk about right now is our guy, Mr. Bill Snyder himself. Yes, the head coach for K-State. Finally got his 200th win.
Do you know anybody who played at Kansas State University?
I may know of one guy for sure, maybe a couple. But he got his 200th win during rivalry weekend.
We got to stop on
against
200 wins.
200 wins.
Not 200 games played.
Right.
Beating 200 opponents.
200 victories. And it came against the state rival KU, which everyone knows it's the Sunflower Showdown trophy game. I actually was able to take part in a couple of those games.
3 of them.
And they're all very special. And so it's awesome. And we're really excited that Coach Snyder got his 200th win. So congratulations, Coach.
We saw Eric Stonetree was sitting up in the
stands. He was. He's a K-State alum. And, he was in the band doing this thing. So that was fun.
Well, and speaking of good coaches doing it the right way, it's always Bill Snyder. You know what else happened this week?
What else happened this week?
Another good guy. I don't know him personally, but Ed Ogeron down at LSU. You know, Les Miles got fired. They went ahead and did all that wrong because they let him start the season, then fired him. But luckily, they looked inward, found the defensive coordinator, and said, "You know these guys. You've been ride or die with them. Will you coach them out?" But then they left this big question mark because they named him the interim coach.
They did.
Finally, they gave the man his due. Ed O is now the head coach at LSU.
Yes, Coach O finally got his promotion from interim to now officially being the head coach.
Yes.
He was a head coach before.
Didn't do very well.
Didn't do very well, and which is why people were a little hesitant about hiring him, but he's a player's coach. He takes it easy on the guys. He's a really good recruiter, and LSU needs a guy like this, and so I think it was a great hire
I do too. I think the only question mark I heard from people is that his offensive mind isn't that, but rumor has it he might be trying to go get his boy Lane Kiffin to come over and
they both coach at USC.
Yeah, we'll see. So, I think Lane's got it pretty good over at Alabama.
Oh yeah, I think he's probably pretty good there.
Well, who else got a job? Did anybody else get a job?
Well, like we mentioned, there's been a lot of question marks about the University of Texas and their future moving forward, whether to let go of Charlie Strong, what he's going to do, what his future is. Well, we do know what his future is, but we also know the future of another person, Tom Herman.
Tom Herman.
Tom Herman has been the head coach for the University of Houston
for 2 whole years.
For the last 2 seasons. Now some people are like, well, that's not very long. But what he did do there was completely change the culture. He picked up. Yes, and he recruited. He picked up right where Kevin Sumlin left off. And like you just said, he dominated all of South Texas down there being in Houston.
Yeah, he recruited.
He did a great job down there.
He did. So congratulations to Coach Snyder, Coach Ogeron, and Coach Herman.
Yes.
Now we got to talk about some people.
So those are the positives. Now we're going towards the negatives a little bit.
Well, and I hate saying negative when we talk about Coach Strong. Charlie Strong is, I think, a perfect fit for anybody's school.
Yes.
Maybe not Texas, but he is, to me, he's a player's coach. You have kids who are ride or die for Coach Strong.
Yes.
And that says a lot about that. And the man came and took Louisville and made them not only relevant, but dominant.
Right.
And he now deserves an opportunity, except that he lost to Kansas 2 weeks ago and then got beat by TCU at home. You go into Lawrence and get beat by Kansas is the coach killer. Kansas coach killer. Kansas coach killer. Just put that in your mind. If you lose to Kansas, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. I think it was in for him anyway, but he lost to Kansas, and then they let him stay on through TCU. Didn't do the thing with Les Miles where you fire him in the season. But he finished with TCU on a loss at home, and so on Saturday he was gone and Tom was in.
Well, and I just say a negative side of things just because you hate to hear someone getting fired,
no,
especially the caliber of coach that he is. National champion at Florida with Urban Meyer, and like you said, got Louisville to really good prominence there. Really just for right now, the reason why Bobby Petrino has a good team is because of Charlie Strong. And so now he's out, and Tom Herman is in. That's just one of the coaching vacancies that came up. That is, still. People are like, well, was it a big, I mean, like you said, KU, and the fact that they just weren't winning. And at the end of the day,
he had a losing record in his 3 years.
People want their team to win, and that's just
But by the way, feel free to fire me from this show if you're giving me $10+ million, which is what happened to Charlie.
I think he's going to be okay. He's not going to be on the streets,
no,
but
he's not shopping at Aldi.
As far as getting let go, it's still
well, you know who else is out there you still have? That means Les Miles, because the rumor was when LSU let him go, that Texas might have been looking at Les Miles. Les Miles is still sitting out there. And guess what the rumor mill is?
What is
Word on the street is that old Brian Kelly up at Notre Dame might be on his last leg.
Well, I would not be surprised. They have not been very successful. And just like Texas is, Notre Dame is one of the premier college football programs in the entire country.
Yes.
And they don't accept losing, and especially in the fashion that they have been, especially the last 2 years.
They're getting beat down. Tell the
truth. Badly. And so to kind of keep on with the coaching trend that we're talking about, we have 3 really good coaches, but 2 specifically in the, well, I guess you could say 4. I want to highlight really quickly. You've got Nebraska with Mike Riley. This is his second year, who really took a team that was in disarray with Bo Pelini's staff and that whole atmosphere. Last year they struggled, but this year they came back and really put together some good wins. So they're on the up and up as they're in their second year. Now you've got James Franklin at Penn State, who's really turned that culture around at Penn State from all the Joe Pa stuff to now being a positive top 5 team in this country, especially when it comes to football. And then you've got Jim Harbaugh and Urban Meyer at Michigan and Ohio State. Those coaches right now, that's a great coaching tree. I love the fact that the Big Ten has some really elite coaches right now coaching the big-time schools.
So you're basically giving me a rundown of these awesome Big Ten coaches. Well, I'm going to give you a little smackdown.
Okay.
Because Mike Riley I'm going to say something nice. Mike Riley's a really nice man. Mike Riley was not brought to Nebraska to win 9 games and get blown out 65-3 on national television by Ohio State, and to let Iowa run through him on national TV over Thanksgiving weekend. So I can't put Mike Riley in that, unless we're doing a nice guy thing. Now, I will give you this on both Jim Harbaugh, because he's just magic. The man just wins.
Yeah.
I will also give you that on Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer only took a little break because he had an anxiety disorder and came back to I don't think his coffers were empty at Ohio State. Now, here I will give you some credit. James Franklin came in behind Bill O'Brien, behind that whole mess of them that shall not be named at Penn State, and I think he's done an incredible job. Now, I will say this. I think the Big 12 has an argument to be made about our coaches.
Yeah.
We still have Bob Stoops. Now we've got Tom Herman over there, which is where he should have been in the first place. We have the elder statesman of the world, Bill Snyder. And I think if Mr. Snyder steps back, what we need to do is go grab Charlie Strong.
Yeah, that would be a great pickup if that were to happen. I don't know what Coach Snyder's future is, but that would be a great hit. That would be a great hit.
The stadium's named after you. The highway that runs into town is named after you.
I think
whatever you want to do.
He'll decide what he wants to do.
Well, you know who I'm not impressed with? I'm not impressed with the SEC, and I'm like everybody else, not impressed with the ACC. The Pac-12, has some pretty decent wins.
Well, which is why I bring up the Big Ten as far as the coaching goes, because you have all of the old school premier teams now up to national relevance. And regardless of what Nebraska hasn't done, they're at least now bowl eligible and are at 7 or 8 wins.
That's the standard for Nebraska?
9 wins. Excuse me, they're 9 wins. Whereas last year they didn't even have that. And so the culture there has been bad. And so what you need is a coach in there that can at least right the ship, even if he's not the guy right away. So, but we'll see. Jim Harbaugh, he's got a lot to still, handle as well. That Ohio State loss, can corral his guys? Can he keep his head? One of the things that he did not do well during that Ohio State game was lose his temper and throwing his clipboard, and it cost him penalty. It did. We can't argue that. Let's bring that up.
Urban Meyer was over there darn near doing cartwheels. You can't just pick out one time when Jimmy was upset.
But it cost his team, and that's a big deal.
It did. A ref call.
No, it wasn't.
Have to cost
you can't do that when you're the head coach. Just saying. saying. You're the head coach. You can't do that.
We need a whole other show to talk about. That being cost the team. Jim Harbaugh got
We don't have enough time to actually get into that.
Let's go back to Brady Hoke, who didn't throw his clothes.
Hey, I don't care. I'm not a Michigan guy, so to me it doesn't matter. I'm okay with them losing all day. So just letting you know, there's the objectivity on that one.
Coach Snyder. Good job, Coach Snyder. 200 wins.
As we have to reel it back in and actually give our true congratulations to Coach Snyder, who definitely deserves to, if he decides to at the end of the season take a step back, that would be more than okay on his part, because he's earned it and deserved it. And like you said, he's an elder statesman, and so maybe Charlie Strong, hey, come up to Manhattan.
We can agree on one thing today.
So, well, with that, folks, we definitely want to say thank you for tuning in with us here on Facebook Live and on our regular show here on OTD.
Where you can find us on our channel.
We are all live and locked in on YouTube and on Twitter. You guys follow us on Twitter. We're always there, especially during the big time games. Yes. So we want to say we appreciate your time, and thanks for tuning in with us, folks.